Hi, I'm Miss Britton, and today we're going to be doing comparison problems with double tape diagrams. Let's look at the first problem. Miss Schwartz has 3 cookies. Miss Lewis has 9 cookies. How many more cookies does Miss Lewis have than Miss Schwartz? So I noticed there are 2 people in that problem. We have Miss Lewis and we have Miss Schwartz. So that tells me I need 2 tapes for this diagram. So it's a double tape diagram. I'm going to label one with an S for Schwartz, and I'm going to label the other with an L for Lewis. Miss Schwartz has 3 cookies. Miss Lewis has 9 cookies. So I know they both have at least 3 cookies. So I'm going to put 3 on both tapes. So Miss Schwartz has 3. And I know Miss Lewis also has at least 3. Try to make them roughly the same size just because they're both 3, they're both the same number. Miss Lewis has 9 cookies. So I know Miss Lewis has some more than Miss Schwartz, but I don't know how many yet. I do know the whole for Miss Lewis though. I know she has 9 cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and label the whole on my tape diagram. Just like this. And now I can see that I have my unknown number over here. So I have a missing part. To find that missing part, I can do a couple things. I can start counting at 3 and count on and then stop when I hit my whole 9. Or I can subtract. Let's try counting on first. So I'm going to stick 3 in my head. That's my part 3. And stop at 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I counted on 6 times. So 3 plus something equals 9. And I counted on 6 times, so I know that's my missing part. Let's try it the other way now. If you subtracted, that's totally fine too. I bet we'll get the same answer. 9 minus 3 equals our missing part. So if I start at 9 and count back 3, 9, 8, 7, 6. So we got the same missing part. We got the same answer, which is great. That means it's the number we're looking for. And then I'm going to write my statement. My question asks, how many more cookies does Miss Lewis have than Miss Schwartz? So I need to answer that question. My sentence has to answer the question, how many more cookies does Miss Lewis have? So let's make that statement answer the question. Miss Lewis has Miss Lewis has 6 more cookies. Let's try one more together. Miss Wentzler has 13 crayons. Miss Puente has 18 crayons. How many fewer crayons does Miss Wentzler have? So I know, again, I have 2 tapes. I have 2 people in my story. So I'm going to label both of my tapes so I know whose crayons are whose. So I'm going to put a W for Wentzler and a P for Puente. Miss Wentzler has 13 crayons. Miss Puente has 18 crayons. I know that they both have at least 13 crayons, so I'm going to put a 13 in both of their tapes. So Miss Wentzler has at least 13, and Miss Puente has at least 13. Again, try to make them roughly the same size because they're the same number. But I see that they say Miss Puente has 18 crayons. So Miss Puente has more than Miss Wentzler. So I know that my extra tape goes on Miss Puente because she has more. She has 18. So I'm gonna label her whole 18 crayons. And I know that she gets that extra tape, but I don't know how many more she has. So I'm going to leave that one empty. I know that the problem says how many fewer crayons does Miss Wentzler have, and I'm talking about how many more crayons Miss Puente has, but we'll get to that in a moment. So to find out that missing part, I need to either count on or subtract. So let's count on first. I'm going to stick my part 13 in my head and stop when I get to my whole 18. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I stop there, and I see I added 5 more. So 13 plus our missing part equals 18. And we know that that's 5 now. 13 plus 5 equals 18. I could have also subtracted. I could take my whole. Remember, when we subtract our whole, the biggest number has to go first to be able to take away. So 18 minus our other part 13 equals 5. So let's go on to our statement. Our question says, how many fewer crayons does Miss Wentzler have? I know Miss Puente has 5 more crayons, but they're not asking me how many more crayons Miss Puente has. They want to know how many fewer crayons Miss Wentzler has. So I need to think about it the other way around. If I know that Miss Puente has 5 more crayons, think about it like 5 extra crayons. These are crayons that Miss Wentzler doesn't have. If Miss Puente has 5 more crayons, that must mean that Miss Wentzler has 5 fewer or 5 less crayons. So that's what I'm going to write for my statement. Miss Wentzler has Miss Wentzler has 5 fewer crayons. Thank you for doing some math with me. Bye.